Welcome back to College COD and playoff season, baby. We are in the middle, and I mean the definition of middle of the playoff group stage. We'll be dealing with the Western region today. I'm Hold Shift with me proper, and well, Andy, I will say two things. I'm actually not sure what I'm going to say as I'm saying this out loud. The first being, this is a key night for Oklahoma Christian, as we'll watch them twice on stream, and I think even beyond that, the second thing being, this Western region is about to have some upsets unfold because there's a lot of competition across all of our groups.
I don't see how you wouldn't be able to avoid just a minor few of upsets, whether you go into these colleges, whether you are one of the players for the colleges, because you look at some of these just stacked groups within its own self. Just even take this one, for example, that we're in with Group G, right? I mean, Oklahoma Christian, Redbirds, as you already saw for our matchup just right above our heads. They're also in here with Louisiana Tech, who lost to Redbirds last week, and Crimson Gaming as well. Four teams that are definitely more than applicable to be able to make a playoff run happen.
Absolutely. Top two make it out of these four-team groups. And both of these two squads, as you mentioned, won their opening matchup, if only just barely. Both of them went to Game 5 to secure their current 1-0 tally. So we got a bit of a head-to-head grudge match here as we've got the opportunity to establish yourself as the clear-cut number one. And likely with that, you go 2-0 in the groups. You probably have earned yourself a spot into the playoffs. Just comes down to is that going to be as the number one seed or some tiebreaker situation for the number two. For Illinois State and the Redbirds, 16-4 on the season. Hardpoint definitely been kind of one of their biggest kind of puzzle pieces over the course of the last couple of weeks, and also toting a pretty solid search and destroy. The biggest struggle for them absolutely has been the control, and against an Oklahoma Christian team that boasts a lot of challengers players, you have to be good in the objective game modes today if you're the Redbirds.
Yeah, you would feel that something has to come up absolutely massive for ISU when you're thinking about both the S&D or the control. If you're not going to be able to close away map number 3, it has to be either a 2 or a 5 if it ends up going the distance. For the Redbirds, it has more often than not, though, for Oklahoma Christian, does not necessarily mean you can let the hard points gloss on over. They may be riddled with full challengers team or players and talent alike, even with fastball into the mix, Alan, but this ISU roster can absolutely get things rolling, and they can get momentum on the side of what we've seen in previous weeks.
That's absolutely the case. So let's take a look at this Redbird roster as they will be signified as the home team in this matchup. And this Illinois State team, you know, I think they kind of started tilting eyes their direction in the offseason. Actually leading into this season overall, had a couple of good showings here or there. And I think a lot of people look at Flop, at least I do, at least in particular. He has been kind of a mainstay corner of what the Redbirds have been able to do, especially in Respawn.
Yeah, that's a fair shout, right? I mean, Boost picking up more of that anchor-esque role with the AR. You just have Leo Bears just kind of going rogue in most instances of the time. You're right to shout out what Flob is also bringing to the table. I think that Saint is probably the most improved throughout the entirety of the season for this roster. You remember going back to even like the early stages, like weeks 1 through 3 for Redbird COD, is that most of it was all in the backbone of Leo Bears going rogue and the rest of the team kind of following suit. Now we're going back into playoffs again, where you need to be as a collective for roster. Saint has been able to show what they could bring to the table, has a lot of icy moments within said Respawn to be able to solidify a lot of good rotations for their team, search and destroy, being able to get those trades. I'm going to be keeping a close eye on Saints and Flop to be able to continue on suit throughout the series versus OKC.
Definitely key components without question, because as we take a look over towards Oklahoma Christian, as kind of teased at, a lot of notable names, whether it be from the past or from the current present nature of challengers. Obviously, I think a lot of people have a lot of focus over towards Gus and Wisdom in particular, who have put together some really good upstarting years in their challengers' careers. Obviously, Bala, we know him. Some of us love him, some of us hate him. Hard to say which side of the fence you find yourself on, but Fastball does, of course, bring a lot of veterancy and experience. The fourth guy up, too, in Dez, I won't lie, he actually has been very impressive at times as well, and that may be, you know, where the only vulnerability in this roster lies is with their fourth.
It almost feels like that Sniper Dez has to be the glue that keeps this team together, because you know, especially what you're already talking about. I mean, Gus, Ball, and Wisdom, you're talking about 3 players that can go rogue at any instance of times, but I mean, Dez is the player. Even last time that you and I casted over OKC, the Eagles can always fly across the map, but Dez is the one that's always seemingly lacking behind. But in recency, specifically versus that win against Crimson Gaming just last week, Sniper Dez was almost playing that role of what you almost expect for an AR flex to almost be at, keeping the entire team together, and that's exactly what they're going to have to need, because if you try to continuously try to isolate these 1v1s, it's really hard to judge if they can end up keeping up with what the Redbirds have brought to the table in previous weeks.
Well, let's see what the map set will look like here for this best of 5. Again, this is one of 2 matches for both of these 2 schools today. Louisiana Tech is next up for Oklahoma Christian, where Utah and the Crimson Gaming team will be waiting for Illinois State after they actually have to play each other in this slot. We've got Gavudu, Bacage, and Tuscan to kick us off. It's really difficult, I would say, I think, to put a frame on what has been the success story for Oklahoma Christian, because at times they've been really impressive, other times they've been kind of lost. And I want to say that a lot of that has been categorized by Gavudu in nature.
You're took the words right out of my brain, man. I mean, the last time that I was casting Oklahoma Christian on broadcast, it was both a Gavutu control and a Gavutu hardpoint. Both where I think that fastball went triple negative, if not close to it, on both of those map mode combinations. So you almost have to feel like something has almost turned the tides for the Eagles to allow such a map mode combo to come all the way through. But the back end of everything else, maps 2 through 4 and even 5 as well, that'll play benefits to Oklahoma Christian's playstyle. Getting very instigative heavy, being able to influence gunfights by way of SMG prowess, to be able to get themselves a lot of good map positioning as well. It's going to be interesting to see how this map 1 does develop, if it's anything to be a boon of success for Redbirds to be able to build that momentum that I was talking about earlier.
We'll see. Of course, the search and destroy and control woes for the Redbirds could maybe be the boon of their dire run. Because honestly speaking, you have to feel like this Redbird COD team should beat Crimson Gaming in their final matchup in this group. But you come out on top here, you've pretty much guaranteed yourself. Really, from either team's perspective, you win this, you're going to be top 2. And then it's kind of, if you lose this, well, you have to win your follow-up matchup, because that Louisiana Tech team is looking pretty dangerous at the moment. So we'll see how things kind of unfold with that. That's just Group G. Again, if you want to take a look at the Western region at large, I don't know if we have a bracket command for chat, but I hope that we do. Like I mentioned, there's a lot of really good groups that are out there, which will provide some very difficult avenues for teams to get qualified into that double elimination playoff bracket, which will be starting on the weekend. So here we go. Gavudu, map number 1 in this series. And it's just going to be one of those things of which flighted bird's going to come out and set the tone here early, because you just don't want to see a game where, for Oklahoma Christian, you get kind of what you were mentioning, where you've got players like Bala just not really able to figure out what exactly the Redbirds are doing, and he kind of struggles because of it.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I remember very vividly watching the Redbirds play a multitude of Gavutu hardpoint and feeling very darn comfortable on it. Leo Bears being that mainstay SMG, allowing 3 different ARs to be able to lock down a whole bunch of angles, and then you could just have Leo Bears continuously go rogue. They're going to be starting off on the left side of the map, traditional 50-50, as it may always end up being here on Gavutu. Gunfights have already ensued, and they're looking pretty darn good for Redbirds to at least get in for the initial time with their numbers.
Kills still coming through, though. Pinch from behind may be the difference maker, as Wisdom has kind of thrown his influence and actually sends Leo Bears out of the hard point in search of him. Not able to quite lock it down as he had rejoined his teammates from the front. Stylistic route being used by Wiz as he held him on 3 in a row. Now an automaton in the arsenal for him to possibly use, and Oklahoma Christian start off very nicely off of a nice creative route from Wisdom.
Yeah, and it's all thanks to that. Now you have Wisdom working up closer towards those streaks. On a 4 is going to be tasked with just soaking up some scrap time. And when you got down to about that 15-second margin, the Eagles made a heads-up play. They started already trying to isolate kills going over towards the cliff path, try to get top LST control. But Redbirds also get creative within its own self. They clear out all of P1. They get ring control, but they did not worry about trying to get inside LST for the initial time where Gus is currently located at.
Yeah, and Gus is in a position to read a lot of these players that are trying to hit from the quote-unquote default side that the Redbirds are currently finding themselves on, still spawning on the left side of the map. Into the hard point, at least can create some sort of influence that has to be dealt with, and Wisdom is not done. Another 3 streak for him. After the opening 5, he follows up with another triple. Still finessing, has an opportunity to find a 4th for free, and goodness, Wisdom is absolutely on one. Not something you want to see if you're the Redbirds. Oh my goodness, and Wisdom! 6 straight, 11-1, and now 1 off of earning a glide bomb in his second life.
Yeah, and he's just going to sit here on top of the cliff path. Let kill number 7 come to them. 12-1, back-to-back sprees coming through from Wisdom, but it was this one that was a lot more influential, has that glide bomb. But you also have to keep in mind, Oklahoma Christian, what they walked away with about another 40 seconds or so off of P2. Look at the rotation already being held. Oklahoma Christian have not left this side of the map since this entire map of Gavutu has started, and it's setting themselves up quite wonderfully, but rotational gunfights are coming through for Redbird COD. It doesn't mean they're going to break in early, but they might be able to get past top green if they can read where the rest of these players from the Eagles are located at.
Oh man, it just feels like we're, just splitting hairs it though, because let's just say how this game has gone. Gus and Wisdom are just not being beat right now. There is literally nothing going into them that's been a favorable gunfight for the Redbirds. It's just all Oklahoma Christian. It's all Eagles all the time. Dez locking to the hard point, going to be tested, but Ball is actually hitting a bit of a route here through mid. That'll be enough to largely dissuade the Redbirds from getting in, and it actually could lock down a full 60. Oh boy, this is the Oklahoma Christian I think a lot of people at the beginning of the year expected to see. You're going to tell me you got Fastball, a former CWL pro, and 2 upstarting Challengers players, and they came out of the gate like 8-2, and we're like, what is happening? This is the Oklahoma Christian that we expected.
Yeah, and not to mention how they had to battle out from Tier 2, no less, from that first split fumble that ended up coming through. I mean, keep in mind, they went 7-2 throughout the entirety of split number 2, but even still, now they're really coming to their own. Unanswered kills galore from Gus and Wisdom. Utilizing that glide bomb was Wisdom, found 2 with it. Sniper Dez trying to hit the angle from that beach side. Should block the spawns because you can see what's happening and what has developed down by the cliff path on the minimap. It's Wisdom, baby. Was able to at least find that 1 kill, broke inside the hard point. 30 seconds left to play, and this is time that Redbirds have to play for.
It's just like this. It's one map. Well, let's not get too ahead of ourselves, but like, how does this Oklahoma Christian team go 5 maps with Crimson Gaming, bro? Like, there should be no world that is the case. I mean, that's crazy. This is what I think everyone expected to see from week number 1. But with that, the Redbirds an opportunity to at least get some time here in the scrap. Problem's going to be getting across the map here because look at the forward zone being put on by the Eagles. Players up front, up close and personal, and more around the back to try to keep spawn safe. But the Redbirds will actually spawn around the back, testing Gus backside of green. And I don't think he recognizes with his teammate spawning above him that this is actually an imminent threat that Boost is trying to assimilate in towards the Eagles itself, but that is an over-aggressive challenge when you could have blocked spawns that the Eagles are happy to clear off. And with that, we take our focus to the hard point, in which the first 30 seconds have been all Oklahoma Christian.
And it's going to have to be a break from the front again for Redbirds, and I guess historically as this entire map has gone, it has not been successful to be able to re-break in towards a hard point. 20 seconds left. You got to hit it one more time if you are Redbirds, given the simple fact that you are down horrendously. Leo Bears is at least trying to make an argument for it, had some sort of an idea where Gus might be located at, but at this point, you're just fighting for about 10 seconds. You have to win the rotation going over towards 1, which, hey, keep in store, Wisdom is already over there, 26-7 by the way. The rotation's won, the scrap time has already been soaked up. Oklahoma Christian at 190 points at the end of the first rotation.
I'm trying to think of any moment throughout this year where I've seen a Gavudu hardpoint end on the second rotation on the second hill. But that's what we're staring down the barrel of right now. Like, we are 1 second away from almost finishing it on this hill, like 6 hard points worth of gameplay. And the Redbirds just can't even get close. No one's even threatening this hill yet. And they're not going to be for at least another 5 to 10 seconds. Off the pinch, Wisdom picks up one, Dez takes the other, and did anyone tell Illinois State they needed to play Call of Duty today? Because I don't know if they're playing that.
I'm not sure. They just look lost. This is not the Illinois State University that I have casted, that I have seen. This is not the same Redbirds COD team that I watched go to a map 5 round 11 versus Louisiana Tech just last week. And Alan, this is all just falling by the wayside. I think that Redbirds might just be conceding the rest of this. I mean, not like they have any choice. Gus, Wisdom, they're at a combined 52 kills between the two of them. Wisdom hasn't even reached double digits for their deaths.
Dude.
Rotation may end up being threatened at this point for Redbirds maybe to get in for some time over by P2, but just when you think that they might be able to step in for some hardpoint time, they just simply can't win the gunfights necessary to be able to hold.
Yeah, what the smoke show is this map from Wisdom, dude? 32-8? Yeah, I'll say. Well, the Redbirds will get out of the 50-point club, at least for now. And honestly, Oklahoma Christian is playing a little sloppy on this break attempt to try to put this game away. A couple of solo chows that just have not turned into too much. And it's going to be a glide bomb call, and that'll be threaded right down in. That'll clear off the hard point. Threat now established from the middle as Gus takes his second. Boost the last one to try to contest, and, well, that's not very good news. 250-68. Oklahoma Christian speedrunning map number 1.
The moment that you ended up talking about it going in towards the second set there on P1, I can't recollect the last time that I ever seen such a massive deficit on a Gavutu hardpoint. A Gavutu hardpoint, again, typically whenever we're talking about it, whenever we're framing it up, is one of those map mode combinations where you kind of get firm handshakes galore. You know, you take a solid 45, maybe we'll contest 15 here or there. We hold the rotation over towards 4. You have a hard time breaking the spawns. that just wasn't the case. This didn't look like two playoff caliber teams for CCL coming in towards that Kavutsu hardpoint. The Redbirds were just getting had horrendously throughout the entirety of that map. And Gus and Wiz, since the gates have completely opened up, and you'll see here in the stats momentarily, we're just not allowing the Redbirds to be able to get any sort of momentum. Wisdom, again, didn't even reach double-digit deaths. 30 of their kills were traded out of the 34. That is absurd with 3,100 damage to boot.
34 kills for an AR in Gavudu is already good by itself. But the fact that you got 34 in not even 7 minutes worth of game time? Come on, dude. That's different. And you almost got 2 minutes of hill time. I mean, what else could you want? I mean, all right, pull up the map selection. There's nothing else there's literally nothing else to talk about. That is just Oklahoma Christian putting the Redbird COD team in a blender, my dude. So that's not good news, because for Illinois State, that's probably one of your best game modes. They're not a bad search and destroy team, but I will say when they play up against better caliber teams, they typically falter in the mid-round. So they're going to have to be better at mid-round adjustments after the first blood engagement here on a map like Bocage versus Oklahoma Christian, in my mind.
And for Oklahoma Christian, going over towards a Bocage Search and Destroy, you're going to be feeling pretty darn comfortable, not to mention, as we were talking about the head-to-heads earlier, just what felt like about a whole 8 minutes ago because of the speed round of Gavutu, but Search and Destroy and Control is a better game mode for the Eagles. And on a map like Bocage Search and Destroy, what we have seen in the past is that they're not afraid just to be able to over-aggress to be able to get the first bloods. And when they're winning gunfights and taking them as confidently as what we saw continuously through the Gavutu hardpoint, now you wipe away 3 ARs, now you go to more of a traditional 2-2 setup, sometimes a triple SMG, depending on how they're feeling coming out of the gates. You would almost feel that Redbirds might have to be looking at a potential reverse sweep here, given how we were talking about their lack of search and destroy strength. They went to that round 11 to be able to even beat Louisiana Tech just last week, and other search and destroy maps have been just as close across the board against some other top caliber teams in split number 2.
Yeah, wow, okay. I just can't, I mean, how do you regain in a group stage matchup that is arguably one that you feel like is a true test of like how deep you can run in the playoffs, and you get absolutely smoked and then have to turn around and play Bocage Search? I just don't know if there is a recovery to something like that. I mean, we're about to find out if there is or not, but at this moment in time, you have to know that Bala and Gus and Wiz are amped, and I would almost be willing to wager my house that this is going to be a round 1 run at them strategy, just to really force the engagements and see if these kids can shoot back.
There's no really need for a deep playbook when you just have the better gunnies, right?
There's better than you. That's the playbook, yeah.
that is the playbook. We're just going to win the gunfights. We're better than you, and honestly, on a map like Bocage, Search and Destroy, it can always benefit that as well. I mean, there's not all of the cross angles in the world to be worried about. There's simple reads to be almost cognizant of. You know, take offense, for example. We're just going to run. We know there's probably a player on the God Tank. We know there's going to be a player up on top church. They're not beating us in gunfights. We could just aggressively win these rounds. And if you don't have an immediate answer for that for Redbirds to at least get the respect from the Eagles, we could be looking at just a fast of a map of what we got from the Gavutu hardpoint, my friend.
We will find out. We will absolutely find out. I just think it's one of those situations that the confidence is going to be oozing out of every orifice if you're Oklahoma Christian. It's going to be leaking out of your eyeballs. You have to put together, the first 3 rounds have to be well put together if you're the Redbirds. Even if you lose one of the 3 rounds in the opener, I still think you have to put something together that Oklahoma Christian would have to think, oh, wait a second, we need to find an adjustment or a response to this. Because if this is just an Oklahoma Christian tempo first off the bat, this might be a speedrun series, because we know what the Redbirds' record looks like on Control. It's not all that great. And when you're dealing with an Oklahoma Christian team that is going to have some pretty significant play time, you have to feel like on a map like Berlin, by the way, with being involved with challengers this last weekend, I don't know. I just feel like if you're Oklahoma Christian, that's going to be one of your better map choices when it comes to Control throughout these playoffs. Yeah,
I mean, throw the wrench into the system, right? But at least systematic play, we know going back in recency, even last week against the Bulldogs of Louisiana Tech, is that the Redbirds always try to heavily kind of benefit from the overall slaying factor that you get from Leo Bears, or just the in-between rounds that you could end up seeing from Flob and Saints, to be able to at least manifest these double or triple kills, hitting very, I guess, interesting routes and timings to be able to find these kills. That's not going to work. You and I talked about this back in split number 1, talking about this Redbird team. That's not going to work when you end up going up against top-notch teams like what we're seeing out from Oklahoma Christian. The Eagles will punish you for that every single time. You're trying to hit an interesting route. You're caught mid-tack sprint. Yeah, that sounds like a very easy two-piece coming through from Wisdom or Gus, as what we saw continuously coming through on that Kabuto hardpoint. Another very easy two-piece or three-piece, especially now that we know that Ball is going to have a sub in their hands. It's going to be interesting to be able to see if the playbook even runs deep for Redbirds to be able to find those stuns, those nades, to be able to get the respect and hold the Eagles at bay for making such aggressive turnabouts.
All right. Here, who knows? I don't. The confidence in Illinois State after that map 1, though, I think has just been shattered across all of the CCL's community. So we'll see what they can put together here. It's going to be Oklahoma Christian on the offense first, and I would expect stun check the door, get on in. See if that will unfold. No, it's Leo for first blood. Is there a trade? Oh, Wisdom thought he had it, but Bala will finish off where he had left off. Saint, also a part of the aggressive play through the double doors, will tally not just a second, but also third kill for the Redbirds. And now it's just down to Wisdom. No bomb in hand, 1v3.
Gets the read on the first. Awkward. Goes for a melee somehow. Maybe trying to get that RKO that doesn't exist in this game, but that was kind of weird. You got to respect that that play that ended up coming through. I mean, for Redbirds, especially Lil Bears, again, you know, most notably playing a lot of SMG, a lot of MP40 play throughout the entirety of the year. Pulls out the Automaton, holds that mid-cross, and the moment that they ended up at least getting those 2 kills, they immediately just flood all the way through, trying to make sure that there was no sort of reset up or antics to be able to get those trades coming forward from Oklahoma Christian. So nice pattern aggression coming through for Redbirds to be able to find that first blood not only, but be able to push the envelope that much further now for their offense. 3-player stack going over towards that AS&D.
Nades will try to contest the top side of the A platform. Has not dissuaded Bala from being in a position to defend this aggressively. And as Saint starts to get shot at from behind, he will kind of force himself forward. And how has Bala not heard this? Okay, so Illinois State, significant control in these opening engagements, leads this time to a bomb plant as Wisdom tries to get around the back and foil the post plant by himself.
Nobody's really watching this. It's a late check for Leo Bear, so at least watch that mid scoop. Wisdom gets the read on the first. Trigger discipline galore is what we almost expect. Waits for the opportune time to be able to press it, but does not expect there's a second player up here. Now up to Gus, 1v3 for a retake with 27 seconds.
Yeah, and he's got no information on where the planter had gone off to, nor if there was any help in towards A. And he doesn't even get the 1v1 at range. So, okay. Illinois State coming out and winning just about every single face-up gunfight that we've seen so far. That's exactly what the doctor has ordered. And after their aggressive defense in round number 1 through mid, you kind of have to wonder, what does Oklahoma Christian do to try to make sure that you're at least able to work through that potential opening engagement?
This is where the knowledge and the rehearsal of nades really needs to start coming through to be able to at least check these notable positions, like over by the black car on Main Street, just outside of Grandma's. You have to be able to check that position if you're not going to be able to win that gunfight going forward. But it seems that OKC are just going to 4-player stack coming through mid, try to overwhelm any sort of mid-map antics from Redbirds.
Here we go. It's right down the middle. Okay, so it is a forced gunfight, but Bala cannot find the final bullet into Flob. Daz able to pick up it with Gus to turn this into what was for a time a 2v1, but quick trades back and forth. Puts Gus and Leo in the 1v1. Gus predicts the check up top to the broken wall, and oh my goodness, Leo wants that challenge. Bold for him to take it. And you see exactly why. Through the woodwork, Oklahoma Christian finds the final shots needed to get themselves on the board.
Yeah, gut check call. Again, 4-player stack over through mid. That's just kind of like that, your 4 players stacking with your homies inside of rank players. Like, you guys just want to run straight through mid and see what happens? And they get all the way back towards the hedges. I mean, it would have been a crazy gunfight for Bala to be able to win, but at least the trades were going to be there galore for Gus to be able to find those last 2, just holding the same angle, was waiting for the trade, was able to walk away with it. At least putting themselves on the board would have been a very scary thing to be looking at if you are an Eagles fan. The Redbirds were going to go off 3-0 in the search. Almost a cut, rinse, repeat offense coming through from Redbirds this time around. This is all just banking on Saints to be able to get inside of this door. Not going to pop dead silence, so this is going to cause a lot of noise, and this should be checked.
Problem about it is you need to try to recover after that first blood loss, and Bala has forced an engagement down towards the tank field, slips away and has help from Gus to make sure the trade does not come in for Illinois State. So we go to a 3v2 situation, numbers favoring the defenders. But Leo Bears and Boost are still in some pretty far forward positions, trying to get into Granny's house, but denied any entry. So Boost, last one left, gets completely chased down, and Oklahoma Christian has all of a sudden turned this game of tug-of-war back into their corner.
Even Stevens coming back into it, and again, as you were noting, that gotta at least try to rectify losing that first blood engagement yet again. Bala with an AR just hits over by that P2 lane and was able to at least isolate a kill on over by the tree. And from there on out, it was just finding what information you possibly could, looking back over towards mid-map, finding the trades as you were catching a lot of Redbird players mid-tack sprint through walls and even through the gate as well. 4 in a row here for Gus through multiple rounds. Going to take this tree angle with a set nade over the top, see if they can find any openings as Wisdom just breaks the front door but can't get their gunning up in time.
Yeah, but this is a different route. Bala with a sub has already made his way through Water Wheel and in and around Tunnel. This is going to put some significant pressure on the B, but they do not expect Leo Bears to come back to the gunfight, and he doesn't just do that. He trails up a second elimination. So now it's Gus on 4. Maybe some consideration here to play for your life, if at all possible. Because let's be candid, 1v4 no bomb. The probability of that coming true is very unlikely. But to find maybe a 5th kill and then save your life, much more doable, but throw the conversation away. Illinois State back on the board as they take away their 3rd round.
Yeah, they read yet another aggressive hit that's coming through from OKC. They shut it all down. Would have been massive. I mean, you almost have to assume what Wisdom was going to be looking for. You know, you break through that front door, you expect a player to almost be in the contest spot watching the back broken area where a lot of players like to contest P3 on Bocage, but was just in a 1-for-1 position versus the player that was over there, I believe was Leo Bears, who finds 3 within that round. So starting to build themselves up a little bit more momentum as we were just evened up, but a 1-round lead here for Redbird is going to go back again towards a very steady setup, just trying to get Saints closer towards this AS&D site, but they're not up close inside of Grandma's. This time, they're waiting for a player to get aggressive out from the water wheel.
Not going to happen this time, though. Oklahoma Christian has largely hit the brakes. For a second, I thought maybe there was an opportunity to see Wisdom over through mid-gates. Not the case, though. 2-2 defensive split for Oklahoma Christian will really make a lot of Illinois State feel uncomfortable playing for B. And, forced team kill will come in, but Gus still gets the job done, taking care of Saint in the exact same moment that Dez was also involved in the kill feed. And with no bomb in hand, a difficult 2v3 starts to loom with 40 seconds to play.
Yeah, you gotta make a play, and you gotta make it happen fast here. Flob stun checks inside of at least Grandma's, but Wisdom was watching the angle by Riverbed the entire time. Flob does take down Gus, forcing out the 1v2, but again, the problem still remains. You gotta be able to find where that bomb is located at, and then the rest of the players for OKC, they just work their way back through the middle of the map, knowing that there was no flank potential that was coming through. They already found that one kill over by the Riverbed, so Dez just pops up on top of the gate, waits for the challenge maybe from Barn over by the AS&D site, and they will find it in kind. Again, going blow for blow as we ended up trading the opening 2 rounds for 2 on the bounce for Oklahoma Christian. We're still knotted up here 3 apiece.
Very back and forth affair. Hard to really kind of pick out the trends as Oklahoma Christian is continuing to really kind of keep the foot down on the gas, trying to play with some aggression almost every single round. But Illinois State is content to take those fights. This feels like round number 1 all over again right here. Same position from Leo Bears. This time he's not able to turn that into a double. And that, oh boy, this is some significant clearance out of Granny's house. If you're Dez and you've gotten all the way through a house, you have to make the call to get the bomb planted. But Wisdom is not a part of the team at the moment. And finally will come back over. And that should lead to a plant.
Ball's got the sniper watching all of the P2 lane. And you almost have to feel this hesitation. Might come back to bite OKC in the rear.
Oh,
blow for blow they will go, and yeah, bot boosts so much time to be able to get back over towards the God tank.
It's just Bala, he gets the opening pick with a sniper rifle, then repositions to B. So he doesn't watch over his teammates in any form. And honestly, as soon as Dez clears out front house, that has to be the call. Get the bomb down. We have full control, especially with a sniper rifle watching deep. I don't know. But all of a sudden, the Eagles find themselves behind enemy lines with not a lot of time to play with. Bomb collected. And Dez has to kind of stick for this. This has been red. Ball is looking to help with the pistol as much as he possibly can as the bomb does get planted, but Dez will fall. So now it's Balla for a 1v2, just the rat and nothing to do there as he gets shot from behind.
Yeah, again, just very sloppy timing when you're thinking about it for Oklahoma Christian. Again, if you're going to end up trying to make that aggressive play happen, as you were already highlighting, Alan, that you got all the clearance on your side of the Grandma's side to be able to get that bomb planted, that when you at least saw that Leo Bears was watching that mid cut, You fought no resilience whatsoever over by that back hedge tank that you have to get the bomb planted. You allowed for a solid 5, almost 7 seconds worth of just kind of going around the front of Grandma's for some reason for Redbirds to be able to resurface themselves, for at least Boost to be able to get back over, be able to work that pinch, get at least 1 kill, and to be able to stop that going forward is just a very interesting fumble for Oklahoma Christian with the amount of strength and, I guess, veteranship that they have across a multitude of Call of Duty titles. Another A hit coming through this time around. A lot of presence being felt over by that A lane. 1 player inside of former AS&D, and again, just over-aggressive stuff. Oklahoma Christian walking away with the kills.
The door's wide open. You have to know that that plant's not free if the door's open the backside. Flob is good for a double, though, and gets away? Ballma, how have you not traded that? Snuck right in front of him, and so now all of a sudden the round becomes recoverable. As Dez is red, aggressive challenge from Flob, who does not expect there to be a bit of a stack on the backside of the A site. Leo Bear's quickly now, knowing where the last 2 players are, wants to take advantage of that information, and he has snuck out and found ball deep. Now a 1v1 with Dez, and Leo has not taken the initiative to move quickly, and that will allow an opportunity for Dez to reposition.
Got to assume that if he did not at least get the information, that bomb is patty-caked right on the AS&D site. Time not in the favor here for Leo Bears. Has to clear away so many different angles. Has no idea where Dez is located at.
Dez is looking towards B, though. He may not know that the bomb is down. He's going to have a really good look at it if he goes high here. I mean, all of this plank boarding is still there, but not enough, apparently, to cover or conceal the move. And Dez will save the round for Oklahoma Christian, but after what was a beautiful opening, Flob nearly gets away with murder.
Damn near highway robbery. Would have gone away with it, too, if it wasn't for those meddling kids and those dang Eagles. But even still, I think what you're mostly looking at, again, is the over-aggression that was coming through very early and egregiously for Redbirds. They were seeing red, no pun intended, to their color on the map, Alan. They just did not get the immediate and gifted information with the doors being open, no force-back resilience, going back on the water wheel side. They just maybe no assumptions whatsoever where the players are located at. Going to have a big brawl through the middle of the map. Aggressive push for OKC through Grandma's.
On Wisdom, if he keeps moving on this route, he will be in a great spot to find a free kill. There it is. Flob will drop. Boost, looking for the trade. Should commit to this. Not going to, though. And that'll be enough for Oklahoma Christian to put themselves well within the bounds to secure their 5th round. But Leo Bears could make something happen. Unfortunately, does not find anybody in the common post-plant positions, and it'll be a flawless round from the Eagles to get onto map point.
That's 2 rounds now throughout the 9 that have been played that all of Oklahoma Christian have been able to force their way through Grandma's and get multiple players in towards the back. That if at least that 1 kill comes through, the commitment for the trades need to be there very, very quickly. On a map like Bocage Search and Destroy, where you can hit a route and probably get there just in about 2 seconds or so to be able to get another power position. It just feels like that Redbirds, once they do have the plan and the setup, they lose that first blood engagement. They have no idea how to be able to get that trade in quick and kind. So now they're going back again. A lot of focus in the middle of the map this time around for Redbirds, but Oklahoma Christian tried to call the bluff. Now 3 players are flanking.
We got Balla for a double in Illinois State. Just really no ground to work with here. It just seems like generally they're just getting caught off guard by this timing. Wisdom, though, not necessarily going to be a guaranteed round win here as he's kind of caught. Okay, so good recovery from Illinois State once again, but Flob a bit indecisive. Will still be traded out as Dez will collect the kill, leaving it all onto the shoulders of Saint for a 1v2. And it looks like he wants to take the more passive and reserved route, seeing if he can catch a timing, but of course he's the one that has to make the first play, and goodness. How does Dez not find that final bullet needed? Saint was on 4 HP, still won the gunfight for now a 1v1.
Attack sprint coming back to bite them in the rear. It's going to have to activate Gus to be able to clear out, and they just got some unfortunate COD timing. You saw just through the X-ray and through the mini-map as well. Started the rotation on the backside of Barn. Saint will plant this bomb. That's going to be for the Willow Tree. Gus will not get here in time. Might be able to catch an exit, though.
Oh, sure has. Yeah, that's bold from Saint, trying to push through after Oklahoma Christian had already kind of gotten forward. And even though it was a heck of an effort from the Redbirds, all in all, it just a couple of key mistakes and some important gunfights led to Oklahoma Christian just kind of, I won't say running away with the map, but at least running through it. I mean, a lot of aggressive positions were taken very quickly by Oklahoma Christian on both sides of the bomb.
I mean, they definitely ran through the map offensively what felt like a good 2-3 times, if not the fourth time being when they ended up just sprinting all the way through the water wheel side when Bala found that timing. That round did not come in their favor, but even more so than that, 2 offensive rounds where they aggressively move their way through Grandma's and get behind the hedges. You can't let that happen any more than it already happened the first time if you are Redbirds. Again, housekeeping needs to be there for Search and Destroy. We've constantly talked about this for Illinois State University, that their Search and Destroy has always been one of their weaker of the game modes. Probably their weakest, as we'll take a look at some of these stats as well for that S&D. But it's just one of those things that Redbirds don't really do a good job at adapting, reading tendencies from their adversaries of the Eagles. They did open up those first 2 rounds, maybe got a little lackadaisical, but even off of that as well, Oklahoma Christian just did a much better job of being able to clean things up through the mid-round, being able to find players mid-tack sprint, trying to rotate at very inopportune timings. They just played the better Search and Destroy team. Barring Leo Bears going 12-7, there wasn't really much to speak of.
Yeah, well, not positively at least. I mean, boost that 1-8 is never something that you want to see. Especially in a game where Wisdom was actually pretty much cooled off. I say that with some hesitation because he still put 700 plus damage in 3 kills, so his presence on the map was still at least leading to some eliminations here or there. And even if you look at the First Bloods, like even First Bloods through the 10 rounds, it just came down to a couple of advantages that were just never fully capitalized on for the Redbirds as we go into now a 2-0 map count. Oklahoma Christian absolutely in the driving seat. And it's, I would have to say, looking even better for them considering that we have the Redbirds' worst game mode coming up for map 3 after we get out of this break here proper.
Yeah, the Tuscan control is going to be a boon of success, you would feel, for Oklahoma Christian through a lot of these earlier instances when we first, brought in control as far as the game mode is concerned, all the way back towards split number 1. It was very easily adopted for OKC to be able to feel very comfortable on the map. Their aggression always ends up paying off so long as they're doing it all together. A lot of that was always focused, and the trades were always being there in kind, is what we saw replicated in that Bocage Search and Destroy, that all it takes is just one player to be able to find those doubles, those triple kills, and then you have a multitude of Eagles players in towards your backline. It's going to be an interesting one.
We'll see. We'll take our little halftime break, come back after we do our diligence with the ads, and it'll be map number 3, Tuscan Control, right after this. Everybody, it has been a one-sided affair so far after a dominant hard point. A bit more contested, the Search and Destroy, but it's been all Oklahoma Christian so far through 2, leading into the Tuscan Control. I just don't know how you reverse sweep this Oklahoma Christian team if you're Illinois State. I'm not going to lie. This map 3 is going to be hard enough, but to win 3 in a row against this Christian team is going to be difficult.
Yeah, so let's go there real quick, right? So let's say that Illinois State, they win this Tuscan Control, right? Then you got to somehow do it on a Berlin hardpoint, where, again, you would feel off of being 70-point clubbed on a Gavutu hardpoint is damn near impossible, given what we've already seen from both Guz and Wiz going through a multitude of different instances back in Challengers, whether it be the Cups, whether you go back to the Minnesota Open, or even through the qualifiers this past weekend. I'm right there with you, man. Like, I think that it can be contested slightly on this control, but this has to come down to one simple fact that we have not truly seen, apart from Leo Bears dropping the kill-death ratio that they did in the Bocage Search and Destroy, is that Eagles are out slaying Redbirds continuously. If that is not stepped up to a fine tune here for Illinois State University, yeah, we're in store for a 3-0 here, no doubt.
Yeah. I mean, again, statistically, they were like 9-5 on control, which is not good in the first place if you're the Redbirds, but it does kind of go to show that, you know, the team that we thought this squad was going to be in Oklahoma Christian has finally showed up in a way. Because honestly speaking, and I'm going to come up kind of blunt here, but like, you've got 2 Challengers players that have been super competitive this year in Challengers, whether that be at the Minnesota LAN or most recently at the Elite Qualifiers. You should not be losing to the Illinois State Call of Duty team. Like, that just should not be a thing. So now that they're finally here, is this going to be the true form of what we should expect from Oklahoma Christian throughout this playoffs? Because, again, if they put this series to bed, they will make the double elimination bracket in some form. Just comes down to what they do in their final matchup against Louisiana Tech, which we will be watching happen, of course, pending that the schedule holds true.
I just think it all depends on how high is their skill ceiling truly going to be. Like, now that they are obviously showing what some tuning can look like for this Oklahoma Christian roster, where's that skill ceiling end up reaching towards? So it's again one of those things as we had a little bit of a lobby drop, so we'll hop in towards that Tuscan control here momentarily, and we'll just break this down one more time. That again, if Oklahoma Christian University, if they end up winning this series versus Redbirds, which is very looking that way, they're into that double elimination bracket where again competition will continuously go and get a whole lot rougher before we end up reaching down towards that top 8. Yeah. I think that Oklahoma Christian, if they continue to show form where they are right here with some more tuning, just being able to hash out a couple of the different edges, that what we saw going back towards that Bocas search and destroy, I mean, this could very much so be a top 10 caliber team. This is not something that I would have said ever since you and I first casted them. What was it, against Oklahoma State? God knows how long ago that was, some odd weeks. They did not look this strong. They did not look this tuned.
And it's funny you mentioned that. I mean, we could sit here and fill space with talking about this matchup as much as we want, but you guys probably aren't listening. So that said, looking deeper at the West groups, I'm glad that you brought up Oklahoma State because they're actually in Group A with Ottawa and Mississippi State as well as Iowa Esports. You expect that Oklahoma State will have no problem with Iowa. There is a key matchup later tonight between Oklahoma State and Mississippi State. That's going to be a really good one, I think, to determine who will be the second team to come out of Group A by all anticipations. Group B, St. Edward's group, they already qualified as they beat both the Westcliff Warriors as well as Concordia, Wisconsin. You expect that Westcliff should beat Minnesota State and the Mavericks. That's not a guarantee, but that would be my, I think, most anticipations out of Group B. This Mavericks team was good in the first stage, though. I mean, do you think that they're a playoff caliber team, or is that just a Westcliff University squad that's just too good?
I honestly think that Mavericks should be able to make their way through playoffs. I mean, you're also talking about the same.
You think Mavericks are going to beat Westcliff?
I think Mavericks can beat Westcliff. I mean, the Mavericks ended up beating Akron, bro. I don't know.
But Akron's not that good. They're not.
I'm not here to disagree nor agree with you. I just think that like the Westcliff roster, as good as they truly are, I think that Mavericks can play upset. I think that they constantly have the same sort of mentality that whenever a team goes up against them, they keep on getting, I guess, slept on in a way, and then they continuously come out on top. So like I give Mavericks the benefit of the doubt that I think it'll be a competitive series. They might be able to beat Westcliff.
All right. That's fair. We'll tackle more of these groups and as we have some more time to fill, but it looks like our lobby is set up and ready to go back in towards the map, so we'll take our focus back to Group G. But I think this Western region, it's really interesting because the way the groups kind of formed, it did put a lot of the stronger portions of the Midwest in line with the, obviously, the middle-tiered Western teams, which I think are still considered some of the best overall in the CCL that we have this year. And some of these groups got really interesting with how they kind of lined up. Like, I'm particularly looking at that Group D, Illinois, Ohio State, New Mexico State, Colorado Boulder. Like, that's a pretty difficult one, especially as Colorado was able to take their opening matchup against New Mexico State in 3-0 form. So there's some important matchups in that Group D. We can talk more about that later. But here we go, in towards the Tuscan control and a must-win situation coming through here from Illinois State, all the way up until we get a potential reverse sweep on the cards. But Oklahoma Christian is looking a little bit different this evening. See how things unfold here, though, as Illinois State have actually made a play through the middle of the map and gotten on to beat early. St. trying to play his life will see it falter pretty darn quickly, and that leads to a difficult moment now for Illinois State as they're still largely committing for plays around B.
Yeah, again, you're exhausting a lot of time just trying to find these kills as cleanly as Redbirds were hoping to be able to get, but I mean, trades are constantly going to be good in favor of the Eagles to be able to dissuade a full-on capture of the B zone. Now, Leo Bears is still back here trying to commit towards this play off the respawn. Redbirds are trying to at least make this push happen over towards A, but nobody was watching the flank, so you would have to assume that this needs to be won inside the A zone. It just simply can't be there. Trades may be there in the middle of the map. Oklahoma Christian, they had the better map positioning for the retake.
100%, and Ball is going to be able to get behind this play over towards B. In the same moment as Illinois State tried to maybe bite off more than they can chew, playing forward and onto the zone, they're going to miss the opportunity to get any kills off respawn, and then Ball may have just won the round right there. First tick of progress at B was not fully completed, so that will be diminished by Dez, who will sit here and watch it, and now it's Wisdom with the sub to the middle of the map that's creating problems over towards A.
That was a big kill to be able to be found, force Saint to at least get Wisdom out from your backline, but where Wisdom was, Bala picks it back up, finds themselves on a 3 spree. They will be cut down, working their way back down towards the well. 25 seconds remaining. This is the last-ditch attempt for Redbirds to try to convert one of these zones and extend the game clock.
Have to stack this as well, just to make sure you get this progress done before there's defensive recontest. But the problem is nobody's actually watching the middle of the map, and for a moment you thought Bala may just single-handedly blow the play wide open. Dez now the next one forward. Third tick of progress is on the way. Being stalled for just a moment as this is one player on, and it's Flob in the corner that wins the 1v1 needed to get the extra 60 seconds. And now we get to some interesting grounds here, because Oklahoma Christian find themselves down in lives, and with a minute 15, the Redbirds have multiple win conditions in front of them, most notably the TDM portion of this map.
It could be the TDM that ends up winning it outright. I mean, you got a minute left to find about 9 kills. You would really feel like you only need one more good wipe, and you're going to send all these players back down to the respawn. We'll force out at least a team kill there. Questionable gunfight to at least try to force out over by the pillars. So this is going to leave both Saint and Flob back over by the church to maybe try to stay alive. They do find one in towards the back, but you still have flanking members for Oklahoma Christian trying to continuously blow this play open from the back.
And that's the biggest problem here for Illinois State. There's no need to take over-aggressive challenges. Just stack up, play trades. You got the numbers. Oh, Saint, that's a heck of a gunfight right there. A tight one, to say the least. And now Saint is all of a sudden in a position that needs to be dealt with. You cannot allow him to stay topside patio forever. And that is just a kill that Gus will be happy to take. Leo, though, quickly chasing down Wisdom, turns this into a 2v4. 23 seconds on the clock. That's the only real ally here for the final two Eagles. And the Redbirds, as they try to nade, they're not going to find any information. So Leo's going to re-clear the back, but Dez's position up top is pretty well found. He's in a good spot. No way he gets a second. Turns expecting another player to come around from the back, but now he's got to make the challenge forward. Takes down kill number 2. It's a 1v2 situation. Both players are on the zone, trying to stack things up. Nades will get called out. It will connect. Dez able to get the 1v1, and now it's just down to him versus Leo Bears. And Leo Bears has to stay on the zone with only 10 seconds left. Dez with the advantage, knowing exactly where he should be positioned. Second tick of progress is locked in. That could be important for round 5, which may be what is we need to consider, because Dez just 1v4s to save the defensive half.
Oh, no. That is put it in the file cabinet of things that just simply cannot happen for Redbird COD. That is a fumble and a half. I mean, yes, they walked away with a certain amount of tick progression. That could be favorable if we go to round 5, but I mean, Dez's position inside of top radar, they found that first kill, but the trade just wasn't there. Redbirds were so infatuated with trying to flood inside the B zone that Dez was just able to stay top radio. A power position to say the least, and is continuing on his previous spree. Has killed number 6. Looking for kill number 7 to be able to get that glide. How crucial that would have been if you're looking at an offensive standpoint for the Eagles to be able to convert this offensive opportunity, but the Redbirds just simply won't let A go for free.
Okay, so now all of a sudden Oklahoma Christian kind of forced to make a play through P5 towards B. It'll be Dez the first one on, and he keeps the hot hand. Wins a big gunfight from the front, turns and gets one more onto Boost, and with that beatdown from Ball, and now all of a sudden the ability to not just get progress on B, but maybe even force some kills to the middle of the map are looking very good for the Eagles, and oh boy, it's all gone wrong here for Illinois State. Second tick of progress on the way, it's being double stacked, should be confirmed here in just a moment. Is anyone touching time? No. So the second tick of progress has been found, and even though Illinois State will recover, they are in kind of dire straits positionally for this defensive round.
And you still had Wisdom up by top church. Already found some damage in the back of Leo Bear, so that clean up of a kill will absolutely be there. So now you can start shifting your focus over towards A. And while Redbirds are all trying to at least force their hand gunning back over towards A, you still have players finding themselves timings, different avenues, players in towards the back. They will find at least Wisdom, but you still got to worry about fastball. He's back here. The trade will end up being here. But so Redbirds, they simply don't have the numbers to be able to retake the A zone. They have to concede it going forward. They also don't want to throw away more lives. They're currently down by 3.
Yeah, this is difficult straits here, just due to the fact that you cannot make a single defensive mistake with only one tick of progress left at B. You have to keep high ground control in front of the zone. Even if players get around the back of you, you have to kind of be okay with that. You lose patio, you lose radio, you may just lose the round, because the ability for Oklahoma Christian to stack becomes win condition almost immediately. But for now, Illinois State have dropped the life deficit just to 1. It was about 5 a moment ago. So good on the bounce, but defensively they've kind of kept the door open. And how about Wisdom all the way in the back, number 8? He could set up a pinch here as he tries to come back, and yeah, that's indeed the case. Now it's Illinois State. They have to respond right here, and it's a 3-for-1 trade favoring Oklahoma Christian. That's the game.
And now you can just, you can hop on the zone. That's the round. It should honestly be there. You got to get past Wisdom over by this half wall. You know where they're going to be funneling down. Wisdom wants to press the issue. Saint will find that kill. But still the problem arises. You got to get onto the zone. The pinch will be there. Saint finds the 2 required. And that last tick of progress will be depleted.
I'm a bit puzzled on why Wisdom tries to push back over around the back in towards Church there. He was in a fine position. I mean, as everyone has to go play for the zone, not only do you have the ability to stop reinforcements from the backs of the spawn, but you also can just turn and find kills on the zone itself.
Yeah.
But he tries to get a little aggressive, gets punished for it, and it turns into an 8v8 with 50 seconds to play. Still within the grips here. Redbirds could absolutely still do this. It just comes down to how do you read this next setup, as it's going to be a 2-2 split for the Eagles, and, well, those are not good opening gunfights. Flob is now on the low ground by himself, completely by himself, and with that elimination, now the round will be over as you just double stack this for the third tick.
I'm just going to let it play out because, I mean, the last time you said it was going to be over, it wasn't over, so that time it absolutely is. Yeah.
Should be over.
I trust you, Alan, but last time you lied, so that time it is, though. Yeah, and again, you really have to feel like that when it comes down to it. The Eagles just do such a bang-up job on their offense, just being able to work these avenues, work these different line of sights to be able to get in behind enemy lines and keep thwarting any sort of numbers advantage that the Redbirds were constantly being able to be found for any sort of retake possibility. Those 2 ticks of progress that were found early over by B is a benefactor for any offensive push. I don't care who you are. So now Redbirds, they need to answer back, not only with an offense, but they need to win back-to-back rounds here to try to press out a round number 5. And, well, the opening engagements are good. They haven't lost a single life yet.
Good start, and I just love the fact that we're taking a traditional route to get to A and just confirm the progress, because their ability to win their first offense was absolutely there. I mean, it's 1v4 from Dez, and a lot of it just came down to sheer time being the biggest ally for the Oklahoma Christian Eagles in that first defensive round. So this time will not be too much of an issue, you would feel like, for the Redbirds, pending they can get this last bit of the third progress. But actually, maybe already kind of thinking of transition too soon. 3 members already over towards B. They haven't finished the third tick at A yet. And defensively, Oklahoma Christian can deal with any delayed play towards A, as they've got numbers also defending this B zone.
Bob stuns himself, but still was able to find that kill onto Gus. And I think the play originally was that they were going to leave Leo Bears behind to maybe try to get that last tick of progress over towards A, but the trades were obviously there. You got to love this call. It's coming through from Redbirds as well. They were able to at least work that tick over by B, and then the rest of the players try to flood in towards the back, but the gunfights just don't go their way. Dez is on the hot hand, 23 and 13 for the kid, and you also have Fastball in your spawn as well, playing their life wonderfully. Finds one of the Leo Bears, holds the space inside of L, even looking for more. The A zone will be converted, 60 seconds added onto the board, but if you continuously try to find more kills through the middle of the map, you might be able to nullify this life lead that the Redbirds have.
Well, can you get into a position to make these lives actually matter? And you also got to remember that progress at B would be nice to try to push for around 5 too. So as much as you would just love to win an offense, you would also love to get a second tick of progress here. So Oklahoma Christian now going to be forced to get the defense going as the second tick is on the way. 3 kills come through very rapidly for the Eagles, and that is not good news for Illinois State. Now the life lead becomes a little bit more marginalized. Minute and a half, and look at the instant map positioning that Oklahoma Christian's able to take due to the fact that those 3 kills were so quick.
I was about to say, you almost have to want Flob to make something happen as they were already pushed inside a church. But again, Sniper Dez has the hot hand, 27 and 15 now. He's able to just lock down 2 players trying to work their way inside a church. Well, if it doesn't work twice, you might as well try it a third time. What's the definition of insanity? I don't know, but you need to stop challenging Dez. He's just winning gunfights.
Oh, this time he gets caught on the reload, so he at least shuts down the potential streaks. But again, this map could just be over here if you don't get this offensive one. With almost looked like a guarantee, now starts to become a question. Good win there from Boost. Flob wins another on the opposite side of the zone, so now we can stack and get to work on this B zone. It's 2 tickets progress logged in. But Dez is just on fire. 31 and 16. Eventually gets traded out by Flob, and now there's no more respawns remaining from either side. 4v3 we go. Boost up top on Patio desperately needs to hold down this position while the rest of the Redbirds come to fight. The problem about this is Oklahoma Christian is still contesting, not just contesting this high ground. They're getting around the back and actually fighting through this. Now it's down to a 2v1. It's Gus this time for the Heroics. He's playing in the backside of the site. Long-range gunfight. He absolutely smokes him. And wouldn't you know it, another 1v1 for Leo Bears. Gus missing on the opportunity to see him cross, but there's the shots to line on in. 10 seconds. This feels very familiar. Leo Bears, of course, very aware of what that could mean, but he gets caught off guard. And another 1v multiple situation is won by Oklahoma Christian as they 3-0 the map, and with that also the series.
I just don't know. I mean, Boost ended up... He had to have seen the nade come flying out of radio that ball through, right?
He had to have seen it.
He had to have seen it. And he still flies over towards Patio, and who finds that kill? It's Fastball that comes back out from Patio. It almost goes back to that one round where the door is just opened up, and I'm just frozen in such a beautiful manner on camera. But even so, I just don't get it, man. Redbirds had themselves so much good information for themselves, and they just can't clean up on given information that was being found from players in these positions. The trade going back to their previous offense attempt from Dez, getting that one kill top radio over by top bunk. They just played the corner and just allowed Dez to stay alive in such a power position to be able to stop that push happening over towards B. The same thing happened with such an influential numbers advantage after capturing the A zone. They can't convert that into an offensive round. I mean, this was a very different Redbirds roster that we have seen throughout a multitude of different instances. Cannot get the slays going, cannot get the snowball rolling for themselves in this series. But you also got to tip your hat that the Eagles look so much better than what they did in previous weeks.
Yeah, absolutely the case. It really is kind of a about time situation, I think, for a lot of people when you look at this Oklahoma Christian team.
Yeah.
But for Illinois State, that does not boast a lot of confidence in what you still have to do to finish off the evening. Again, this is a Group G matchup. One that I think a lot of people would have looked at the beginning of this group and said this should be a battle for who takes first, who takes second. But all of a sudden, now you've got Crimson Gaming out of Utah, who took Oklahoma Christian to 5 maps. Now your next opponent. Like, I don't know. You better figure it out quickly here if you're the Redbird COD team, because you can't just rely on Leo Bears to do all of it for you.
No, you can't. I mean, even when we were talking about in previous maps and series as well, I mean, we did see Flob and Boost, as well as Saints, be able to step up in certain manners, but Leo Bears has always been the X factor for this team, for Redbirds. It was not necessarily a non-benefactor, but was not creating a multitude of instances compared to what we've seen even just last week versus Louisiana Tech.
For real.
This is the same problem that we were talking about with this Redbirds team in previous weeks, going back to even split number 1. You can play the Killmonger role. That's fine. It will work against other teams that aren't even in the group stage for playoffs. But once you go up against teams that will punish you continuously for playing such a slay-heavy position, it's just not going to work. Yeah, a lot of questions need answers going forward for the rest of their matchups in playoffs here, Alan.
I absolutely agree. But for Oklahoma Christian, big tally for them, 3-0. That will pretty much guarantee them at least a spot into the playoffs with one more to play here in Group G. They've got Louisiana Tech to come up, and this was a squad that, as we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, also saw map 5 in their first matchup. That was actually against this Illinois State team. But I don't know, man. Oklahoma Christian's coming out a little bit different today, and I don't know. Louisiana Tech's going to have to put together something special, I think, to beat this squad. So we'll see how things unfold. We'll send things to a break, get everything set up. When we come back, it'll be our final match of the evening. It's weird to say only having 2 matches each evening, but that's what we've got. So don't go too far. We've got more CCL coming up right after this.